could all tell stories, couldn't we? But I've been doing some work recently with Byron Katie out in California, and one of her great lines is, "Who would you be without your story?" So I'll maybe start by letting the song speak for himself, and we'll go from there. How's that sound? I heard somebody had a hard day out there. I had a hard one too. We could count 'em all up and see who wins. Who do you think would have more, me or you? Feeling sorry might work, but not for long. We don't have the luxury of time. So I've got an idea, and it might help us both. And it starts with a question of mine. What can I do for you today? How can I help in some small way? It would be such a gift to me, it's true, if you'd let me do one little thing for you. Oh, what can I do? There's a whole lot of things that I can't make. Can't build a house or meditate, but I know there's one thing I can create. Oh, I can make some time. Oh, the older I get, the faster it flies. Spend it like crazy, no surprise. When my pockets are empty and my credits decline, I'll know that at least I gave you some time. What can I do for you today? How can I help in some small way? It would be such a gift to me, it's true, if you'd let me do one little thing for you. What can I do? Such a noisy and crazy earth out there. We are neighbors in crisis everywhere. Just in case you were thinking no one cares, someone may prove you wrong. People all over this world need love, and some won't be lucky to get enough. And that's why I'm hoping that you'll understand how we'll both get ahead if I give you a hand. What can I do for you today? How can I help in some small way? It would be such a gift to me, it's true, if you'd let me do one little thing for you. What can I do? So that really is kind of my question. You know, I've seen this as a highly interactive congregation. So what can I do for you today? I've been a full-time songwriter I had my last part-time job in December of 1987. So this is year number 26 of playing full-time music, which is almost a miracle. But my father, Irving, may he rest in peace, was a Russian Jewish immigrant, and he had hoped his only son might one day become a doctor or all right, so the physicians are on this side, the attorneys are on this side. He would have settled for an accountant or a cantor or anything like that. I became a folk singer. Now, his only other child, my older sister Deborah, became a Unitarian Universalist minister, a UU minister. And so there you go, Irving, and when nothing personal, nothing is. Yeah, so many thoughts come to mind. And when my sister was trying to explain Unitarian Universalism to me way back, and she started describing it to me, it kind of sounded like unity in some ways. There was some overlap there. And then I tried to rephrase back to her. I said, so Deb, I think what you're telling me is, and you put the word unity in there this morning, this is a place where you go to have your answers questioned. And she looked at me with that disdain only an older sister can give her younger brother, like, ugh. And that's the conclusion I've drawn. It is awesome. But I'll also tell you a couple other things briefly about my dad. I may have said these things here before, but they continue with me. This is part of my story, but people still tell me that this is meaningful for them. And when my father was leaving his body, he was in the hospice unit of Evanston Hospital north of our hometown of Chicago. And all of a sudden, this very protected Iron Man, whose nickname was the Iceman, started to open up just a little tiny bit, just a little tiny bit. And so all of a sudden, some exchanges were taking place that had never taken place before in all 84 of his years. And I'll also tell you that during his whole entire life, he never gave me one word of encouragement for my music. He'd seen me play in front of 50 people and 5,000 people and everything in between over years and years and years. And he never, ever once said, I'm really proud of you, son. I think you're doing beautiful work in the world. It was more like, you're not getting any younger. When are you going to get a real job? Do you get any money for that? And now I'm speaking and singing in churches of all things, So one of the two things he said to me as he lay there with just 2 or 3 days left to live in the hospice unit, and I will forever be grateful to hospice workers, was, son, I said, yeah, Dad, if you still want to go to law school, I'll pay for it. He said that. Huh? He was consistent. And he was honest, He was a Jewish Archie Bunker, that's what he was. It's the best way I could describe Irving. Lovable and unlikable for many of the things that he learned from his family, who learned from their family and their family. So if we can do nothing, right, we can break the cycles of dysfunction, by our actions in the present moment and leave that part of the story behind. I believe that. So the second thing he said to me, which was it blew my mind. Turns out he had a couple days left to live, and so I made sure that I sang to him, the last few nights in the hospice unit. Very quietly, I was nervous about people walking down the halls, that someone would hear me, and this was kind of a very intimate moment with a man who had never been intimate with his son. So I would sing to him a couple songs, over and over again, in a whisper. And then my sister and I went out to the elevator to go back to his apartment to catch 2 hours of sleep and come right back. And 2 nights before he passed, I said, Deb, wait a minute. I went back to his room. I kind of woke him up. His eyes opened a little bit. I said, hey, Dad. Eyes open a little bit more. Just want to know, have you heard me singing to you the last few nights? I've been singing to you. I want you to know that no matter what you thought about what I'm doing with my life, I found what I love to do, And I tried all the other things my parents encouraged me to do. Just because a child wants the approval of their parents, that's kind of normal. But have you heard me singing to you, I've really found what I love, and wherever you're going next, or wherever I'm going, or any of us is going, I just want you to take that with you and know that I found the thing that I love. And he paused for a moment and said, in a whisper, yeah, I heard you. It was. Long pause. Beautiful. First time I heard him say that in 84 years. Got it just in time, and then a couple days later, off he flew. So if someone had asked me to describe my relationship with my father up until that time, I could have used any number of other words. But from that moment forward, the first word that will always come to mind is beautiful. And it was perfect, it was beautiful, it's what it was. And so I hope you got that from your levels. If you didn't, I'm here to give it to you. You know, that beautiful is for you, in case you didn't get it from the people who you wanted it so dearly from. Thank you and good morning. So I think I'll sing a song about love in celebration of our anniversary and our birthday. Where's that couple? Are they here this morning? Oh, they're not going to be here? I don't know. Could we put a little more love in the world anyway? Last time I checked, no one was falling down or tripping over big piles of love because there was too much of it in the world. You know? Everyone looks for their calling in love, but I always find it surprising the way people say that they're falling in love, when I always felt I was rising, floating right off of the ground and reaching something I only have dreamed of. I'm not falling at all, I am rising in love. And everyone talks about tying the knot, but I have a hard time agreeing with the way that we bind up the love that we've got, when the feeling of love should be freeing, lifting each other up instead of giving one another a shove. We won't be falling at all, we'll be rising in love. How do you let love grow? You've got to give it a chance when you found it. And a bird in your hand will stay until you start to close your fingers around it. Love is a river whose waters we test, and a measure of where we are going. But you never can step in the same river twice, for that water is constantly flowing. But the deeper the river, the greater the trust, the more that we're rising above. We won't be falling at all, we'll be rising in love. I'm not falling at all, I am rising. I'm not falling at all, I am rising. I'm not falling at all, I am rising in love. I'm rising in love. I'm rising in love. I am rising in love. Thanks. One of my older songs. And so, but I skipped the answer to my question. My first song was, what can I do for you today? And I didn't even give you a chance to tell me what you came here for. So anybody, give me I don't need a big long list, but what did you come to church this morning hoping would happen for you? Anybody? Pleasant surprises? Okay, that's probably me right here in the first place. What else? Love? Okay, we're starting to cover that. It's infused in everything. Encouragement. Yep, can do that. What else? Connection. All right, she's filling in all the blanks here. How about you way in the back? Is that it? Is that all you need this morning? Affirmation, yep. Good. Hope. Okay, you've come to the right place. And I want to thank you for saying encouragement, because I am a cheerleader disguised as a folk singer. And about 3 years ago, I received a fan letter. A fan letter poured in 3 years ago. Right? Yeah. So keep them coming. And this was from a 9-year-old girl whose father had dragged her to one of my concerts in Washington, D.C. Now, her father was an old friend of mine, and his daughter Alana showed up, and she was wearing all black and had some what I hope were temporary tattoos and a few pierced body parts. It's all good. 9 years old, though, think about it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, a 9-year-old, you know. I mean, my concerts are family friendly and hopefully thought provoking and interesting, you know, but there's adult content in terms of talking about what's going on in the world. I'm a folk singer. I was inspired by Pete Seeger and Woody Guthrie and Bob Dylan, you know. So about a month after the concert, I got a letter from Grant, a letter in the mail, a letter. In case there's anybody young here, back in the old days, we used to take a piece of papyrus and a sharp stick and put it in some darkened fruit juice, and anyway, I got a letter. It poured in. And Grant said, hey David, it was so great to see you last month, and I came across this on my desk. I thought you'd get a kick out of it, so he sent me this. Apparently Atlanta had a school paper that week about what they'd done over the weekend, and she wrote a paper for school, and he sent it to me, and I'm going to read it to you. It's got a great title. It's called David Roth by Alana Baldwin. David Roth is my hero because he writes songs, great singer, guitar player, and sang at my parents' wedding. David Roth writes funny songs and inspiring songs. The funny songs make people that are even down in the dumps laugh. His inspiring songs like Yes We Can and some others make me have confidence, courage, C-O-A-R-A-G-E, and get ready, encouragement. The greatest new word in the English language, encouragement. So I hope, if you take nothing else from my time with you this morning, you will have been encouraged in some way. Truly. All right, David Roth has been playing guitar and singing for over 20 years. He is tall, skinny, and has gray hair. I'm amazed at even how old he is, he can still get all the high notes. Gee, no one even said laughter when I asked what you wanted, but comes in handy, doesn't it, in this world? At this point, she's about down to here, but it has to be sort of a full-page report, so she's out of information, so she tries to sneak in some repetition. David Roth sang at my parents' wedding. He sang a song, Rising in Love. I'm happy about that because it's my mom's favorite song, of his at least. David Roth is my hero because he can make anyone laugh, inspire anyone, and sang at my parents' wedding. Okay, there you go. Out of the mouths of babes. But Alana did give me a great new word for my vocabulary. So Joe, come on up. Joe's sitting there. I love this man. I just met him today. And a couple weeks ago, we were having an email exchange saying, hey Joe, it's going to be great to be working with you. He said, I can play piano with you, want? And I said, oh, that's great. I'll email you some songs and we'll figure out what we can do together. And I'm sitting in a Chinese restaurant in Columbia, Missouri last night going, oh gee, I never sent Joe any songs. So in the Chinese restaurant, I emailed him an MP3 of one of the songs we might have a chance to do later. And this morning, I said, I threw a bunch of music at him, and this man is just sailing along with us. So give him a hand. There's a lot of forgiveness in that. So we'll do You Remind Me, Joe. Does that sound okay to you?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. I love it. It's great. And actually, I wrote this song at Unity Village at the Sound Connections Conference about 3 years ago. It's the annual meeting of all the many of the music directors and singers from around the country, and we always just get together and play music and encourage one another. So this is for anybody who needs a little encouragement. You remind me that I'm always forgiven. You remind me that I'm always loved. When I try so hard and feel so empty, you remind me that I'm good enough. When that devil doubt is racing before me, sprinkling eggshells of distrust and disarray, you are rolling out your carpet of forgiveness, and you give me solid ground to find my way. You remind me that I'm always forgiven. You remind me that I'm always loved. When I try too hard and feel so empty, you remind me that I'm good enough. And I know that there were times I was distracted, and I know that there were things I didn't do. But the universe is perfect, and I know it. And the reason that I'm sure of it is you. I forget to lay a flower on your pillow. I forget to say how much you mean to me. This is my bouquet of recognition for every gift and grace you've helped me be. You remind me that I'm always forgiven. You remind me that I'm always loved. When I try too hard and feel so empty, you remind me that I'm good enough. You remind me. You remind me. You remind me.
Stay there, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. So I see that time is running short. I'm going to do one more song before we get on to the next part of the service. So I think we'll just continue this conversation in the next service. Anything can happen. And I very much appreciate Reverend Sue stepping aside for me today, even when she's here. And it's great to meet Sean, too, and be with you all. So thank you so much for your kind attention. I have more courage than ever before now. So this last song of the Sermon and Song was inspired by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I was at a big conference in Wisconsin about 4 years ago, and he was one of the keynote speakers. He had just come out with a book called Crimes Against Nature, and he is very much, he's not a politician from the Kennedy family, but he is from the Kennedy family. He's an environmental activist attorney. So he's trying to work for laws that protect our environment and make our world safe for our children, our grandchildren, and clean. You know, he has 3 sons, and all of them have asthma. They live in upstate New York, and it's not a genetic predisposition. So he's really taking a close look at how governmental regulation kind of lets corporations kind of slip in with putting more toxic stuff in our environment, and it's just not good for everybody. So his book, Crimes Against Nature, is a reminder for me to be more conscious of walking more softly on the earth as much as possible. That's why I'm using now a refillable water bottle. So that's my little helpful hint for the day. If you can cut down on the use of those plastic water bottles, they're still recyclable, but if you've seen those videos on the internet, you know, of the oceans and oceans of plastic that wash up on shores in countries you don't know of, that might be a small step you could take. And if everybody moves the mountain 1 teaspoon at a time, the mountain is moved. You know, so this was inspired by Robert F. Kennedy. I stand for love, I stand for peace, I stand for joy and for release, for what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope, I stand for you. I stand for love, I stand for peace, I stand for joy and for release, for what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope, I stand for you. is in great pain. She needs our loving care again. But there are those who fail to see what we have done and what we need. There is a cost for every act, and now there is no turning back. We burn a bridge, we bang the drum. It's time to rise, the time has come to stand for love, to stand for peace, to stand for joy and for release, for what is beautiful, true, to stand for hope, to stand for you. And if you're thinking it's not urgent, that we've got more time to kill, if I am not the one who will change things, then for heaven's sake, who will? So I will move, I will climb that mountain one step at a time. I won't be swayed, I will not stop till we've made it to the top, where we will stand for love and peace, stand for joy and for release, for what is beautiful and true. We'll stand for hope, we'll stand for you, for what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope, I stand for you.